Okay, let's get started. Today is lesson 2.19. Yesterday we did 2.17 and 2.18. With the quad answer hand, what did we learn about yesterday in lessons 2.17 and 2.18? Alina?
Rounding the factors.
Uh-huh.
That we can estimate the quotient.
Yeah, yesterday we rounded the divisor and the whole. Now, which one did we round first, the divisor or the whole?
Divisor.
The divisor. And so we did that so that we could estimate the quotient. Today, our learning goal is to be able to use the standard algorithm to divide whole numbers and, most importantly, use multiplication to check our work. Okay? Okay, so when we have the problem 70 divided by 30, let's use what we learned yesterday. Let's first estimate. Do we need to round the divisor, or is it already a pretty easy number to deal with? Okay, so we can keep it as 30. But let's round the whole so that it's compatible with the divisor of 30. Is 70 compatible with 30 based on what we know about math facts? What whole would be better? 60, because we know that 60 and 30 are compatible. So 60 divided by 30 is? Everyone? 2. Okay, so this tells us that our quotient should be somewhere around the ballpark of 2. Is it going to be exactly 2? No, because that's just our estimate. Okay, now let's do the standard algorithm. When we do the standard algorithm, we don't want the problem to be horizontal like this. So you want to set it up with the house and the door and the roof. So let's go ahead and draw that first. And which number lives inside the house? The whole, the divisor, or the quotient? Okay, so in this case, what is our whole?
70.
Okay, so let's write 70 there. Who's knocking on the door? 30, the divisor, good. And we need to figure out the quotient, who lives on the roof. So since our estimate was 2, why don't we start off with 2? Okay, so if I want to share 7 tens equally into 30 groups, 70 into 30 groups, I can put 2 in each group. When I do that, how many do I use up? I can do 2 times 30, which is? 60. So how many do I have left over?
9.
So my answer then is 2, remainder 10. Okay. When I use the standard algorithm, today we are going to be using remainders. If you have a remainder, I can tell that it's my remainder because it is less than my divisor. Is 10 less than 30? Okay, so that means that that is my remainder. Now, let's see how we can use multiplication to check our work. I can take my quotient. What is my quotient? 2. And I can multiply by my divisor, which is? So 2 times 30 is? And I should end up with my whole. Is 60 my whole?
No. But you have to plus 10.
I have to add 10, so I then have to do 60 plus my remainder, which was 10, to get 70. Now is 70 my whole?
Yes.
We basically can think of this as splitting up our whole into 2 parts. If our whole was 70, we're going to split it up into the quotient into one part, which was 60, and we could divide that part by 2, right? We also can split it up in, and then there's another part that's the 10. Okay, so we're splitting up our quotient, we're splitting up our whole into 2 parts. The part that's compatible with our divisor, and then the part that's not. In fact, instead of writing 60 here, I want us to write 2 times 30. Okay, because that's our quotient multiplied by our divisor. It's important to start estimating first because when you start setting up your standard algorithm, 430, which is the whole, divided by the divisor of 60, do you know what quotient to try first?
Yes.
You know because the answer should be somewhere around 7. So what quotient should we try first? 7. It tells you where to start. You don't have to do 60 times 1 is 60. No, that's too small. 60 times 2 is 120. No, that's still too small. Let me try 10. 60 times 10 is 600. No, that's too big. You don't have to guess and check. You can just start with wherever your estimation was. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Good. Okay, now we've divided. 430 goes into 60 7 times. Dad did the dividing, so Mom's going to multiply. 7 times 60 is 420. Sister will subtract. What is left over? 10. So our quotient should be 7. We put a capital R there for remainder 10. Okay, now if I want to multiply to check my work, I know I need to multiply my quotient by my divisor. So what was my quotient? What's my quotient? Lauren?
Your quotient is the 7 remainder of 10.
Okay, but I just want the whole number part, not the remainder, the actual part of the quotient, which is 7. And I'm going to multiply that by my divisor, which is what, Sporty?
The divisor is 60.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the quotient of 7 by the divisor of 60 to get 420. And that should equal my whole. Is that my whole?
No.
Why not? Because I need to add the 420 plus 10 equals 430. Now is that my whole?
Yes.
And if it is my whole, does that give me confidence that my answer was correct?
Yes.
In this case, we were splitting up our whole of 430, of 430 into two parts. We split it up into 7 times 60, otherwise known as what? 420. And then the other part has 10. Okay? When you're splitting it up into two parts, I want you to write it like this. 7 times 60 equals 420. Write the whole math sentence. Okay? Good.